You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
Just the tip, though.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Emilio in Tennessee. Back to talk a little Packers today. We obviously had another practice in the books. We got a new injury report. We're going to dive into some numbers as well. You know, we've been talking about rankings and how the Packers looked in week one. We're going to dive into a few statistics that I kind of find important. You guys and gals may not, and that's totally cool. But just to kind of peel another layer back on some of the positions we're a little shaky on in terms of, okay, maybe they're not getting as much recognition as some of the other spots like your Zach Toms and your Elton Jenkinses and your Xavier McKinney's, people like that. But, right. Emilio, how was your day, man? How you doing? You ready to talk some Packers?
Always ready. Always got had enough time to listen to some podcasts today. Move the sticks. He's cranking one out each day. Lombardi was kind of going in on us a little bit on the shuffle, but
was he? I haven't heard that yet. I want to get your take on that a little bit, then, for sure.
All right, yeah, we'll dig into it.
Yeah, definitely. Tell you what else you need to dig into. All right, Emilio, let's jump into the injury report first, if that's all right with you. I know we're going to kind of take you guys a little bit beyond kickoff tonight. Obviously, we got the Dolphins and the Bills kicking off from Miami. That'll be a fun one to watch. Obviously, a divisional matchup there. Josh Allen versus Tua. I think both teams seem to be fairly healthy, so it should be a fun matchup.
You know what's going to be big in that matchup? Poyer. That was one thing Lombardi was talking about, coming from the Bills over to Miami, but I mean, Poyer's someone that he can run that entire, knows the defense inside and out. It's not cheating if you're not trying, but it's, hey, let's take that advantage of the dude's knowledge of that defense, and how can we exploit it with the, with this track team that we have over here.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Yeah, so it should be a good one. Tua had a great game week one, if I understood correctly. I think Josh Allen struggled a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Josh Allen might be undefeated on Thursday nights too. So obviously you can find that game on Prime. I've got some underdog fantasy parlays put in, man, with the maximum amount of selections. So if we hit on this, little Miss Etta James taking a nap over here right now. She's going to eat good this week if we hit on this parlay. You know what
He's got 12 of them all tagged in one here. Let's see what we can get.
Definitely. We'll hit on 3 and be depressed. I'm going to go to sleep tonight. That's how that happens. But now, if you guys do hear a bark or two, I apologize. I'm dog sitting tonight. Lincoln and my brother's dog are downstairs. They're hanging out, playing, probably tearing the living room apart. But Etta's sitting up here, so if she hears anything, a pin drops, you're going to hear her go nuts. So
trust me, I know all about it, man. She had me on lock.
Emilio would stand up during the draft, and she would just lose her mind. That's the way we want them around here, though. Just in case somebody decides to kick that door in one night, they're going to regret it. So. All right, let's do this, man. Let's hit the chat real quick. First of all, we've got a poll question up for y'all I wanted to hit on. And here's the poll question. Who would you rather have play right guard for the Packers? Would it be Jordan Morgan, Sean Ryan, or that rotation that they've got going on right now, which I put rotate both, okay? And then obviously we had someone being cued in here in the chat, 2-0 for this, as he always does. It's just the way he rolls. He says, who is rotate both? Is he a new guy? Sounds promising. And, of course, I came back and said rotate both as Emilio's cousin from Botswana. So we're going to try him at right guard occasionally now. But questions in the chat real quick. 2-0 for this says, Jeff said that Evan Williams will play this week. We are winning this game. There you go. Obviously, he was asked about Evan Williams. Kept referring to him as 33. Got to get him on the field. You shouldn't force that. But here was the big thing going into the season, and we're actually going to hit on this. We might lead off with it. Well, we need to get the injury report first, but the big thing was if Javon Bullard is going to be better in the slot than Keyshawn Nixon, let's get Evan Williams on the field, right? The issue, though, is Keyshawn Nixon, he played pretty damn well there Friday night, man. Maybe Jeff Hafley just unlocked Keyshawn. Let's hope, right? And you guys know I was critical of him in the offseason going, I think we could probably do better at the slot. Hey, if him and Eric Stokes both, we're going to talk about them because they were our best two corners in that game. That's the way I've seen it. So
you heard Hafley talking about it, right? He's like, dude played great, had a pressure on that run up sack almost, and then I mean he was just all over the place. He said, but there was still things to improve on, even for Key. He had that drop pick 6. And he was even talking about more takeaways that we could have got. So I think that Key did have a good game, and we need that nickel to be solid. I think that maybe they're going to look at, rotating in Evan, just a couple. I think they're going to kind of do it like they did Edgerrin. He was saying, all right, we got Edgerrin back into the game later on, and I'm happy we did that. I think they're going to try to do that forefront, but still probably get him in, maybe 10, 15 plays and just see how it works.
Definitely. Ron Sample in the chat said, Watson said Willis and Dobbs must have had 400 yards today. I hope they're able to use most of the normal plays. So what Christian Watson said was they were chucking it deep to Dobbs. Malik Willis was. Malik Willis has got a big arm.
He does.
That was in his pro day. I remember coming out of college, it was much like Zach Wilson. People are going, please don't say that again, Clay. But he was throwing crossbody. He's got a cannon for an arm, especially for a smaller stature guy. He's not your 6'3", 6'4" gunslinger types. But the dude can throw off platform, and he can make those throws deep down the field. Wouldn't it be something, Amelia? We're sitting here talking about, hey, look, let's play within the scheme. Let's take what the defense gives us, just lean on the run. What if Matt LaFleur had him come out and just absolutely bomb it down the field?
Just turn it loose. DJ was talking about, he can layer it. He's able to take that touch off of the rocket balls if they're coming across. He has that ability. But he is a running. We got to be able to run this court. We got to be able to use his skills to our advantage. And that's where he was saying, he goes, honestly, if I was Matt LaFleur going into it, I'm running Malik Willis 10, 15 times, quarterback powers, counters, runs, and just absolutely lean into it, because if Jordan Love is going to be on a short-term comeback, how long, how long do we need to, baby Malik through it or keep him at, 100%? If we can, have him go full tilt for 1, 2, 3 games and just get us as many wins as he can, let it go.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a quarterback that's like, okay, this was an undrafted free agent and there wasn't like no kind of ceiling attached to him. So he's a dude that many people seen as a high ceiling type guy. Now, he fell from what the consensus big board had him around the 14th spot that year in the draft. He fell all the way to the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. I actually took the cheese there. I adjusted my draft board because there were so many experts talking about Malik Willis going to be a top 5 pick. Malik Willis going to be a top 10 pick. Next thing you know, it's the 3rd round. He still hadn't been taken yet.
Mm-hmm. So, DJ had him at top 20 or, around the 20s, right. Early 30s maybe. So,
and again, for the folks that are, critical of him, listen, I understand you've got every right to be critical, but if you do peel an extra layer back, you find out he's had 4 different offensive coordinators, essentially, is what it's come down to. Mm-hmm. He's never had a chance to really settle in. And who knows, man? Matt LaFleur knows how to coach up a quarterback. How many times has Matt LaFleur had to play with a backup quarterback? Is this only the 2nd time, Amelia? Am I thinking right? Jordan Love, the COVID game in Kansas City, right?
Philly,
another time.
Philly when Love came in for the Philly
after
game.
halftime, right? Yeah.
But
what I'm saying is having a full
starting.
Week,
I got you.
Full week to prep, and here's the thing.
I think it's only Jordan.
And Jordan didn't even have a full week. Remember, it was like Wednesday or Thursday when Aaron tested positive, so it was like 3 days. So who knows, man? This is going to be a great test, another great piece to add to the resume of Matt LaFleur on how well can he prepare a backup quarterback with a full week's time, right? And again, some people are going, is there a chance Jordan can play? They still haven't ruled it out. I'm not putting my money on it, but 10 runs out of that tunnel with a brace on, boys. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be one fired up redneck down here in Tennessee. There's no doubt.
You're gonna jump through the ceiling, fan. Definitely. I mean, and that's the other thing is, Malik has that skill. The last time he started, he was a rookie, right? Last time he had 3 starts, he was a rookie. So even if even if you don't think he's made any progress, he's still been in the league now. I think it's his third year, right? So he's got knowledge. He's seen game plans. He's seen the plays. I'm excited. I think Matt might actually, turn him loose a little bit.
Could happen, man. Could happen. Omer in the chat said, game plan for Sunday, run Josh Jacobs, then run Emmanuel Wilson, then run Marshawn Lloyd, then run Malik Willis. After that, run some more. So run is what
I think Josh Jacobs is going to be big. I think we are going to lean on him. Do you think over/under on 20 carries for Josh Jacobs? If I'm putting you on the spot.
Ooh, man, that's tough. Matt LaFleur, that's not kind of his MO, right?
Right.
Could happen. If there was ever a game, it was going to happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's where you're wondering is what is, and then what do you think the Colts are thinking at the same time? If we're thinking this, what's Matt's offense going to be? The Colts are the same way. One, is Jordan going to play? Two, how's Matt going to run it? It's going to be something to see.
Definitely. And shout out to Matt Schneidman for this little background shot here. He tweeted out, no Jordan Love at practice again. Malik Willis Sunday, inches ever so closer. And just a little clip there from practice. So Matt Schneidman always bringing great.
Little quick pitch there. I like that.
That's it. Little quick pitch, then catch a quick snap on the run, throw it, no laces, get it out quick. Matty knows what he's doing out there. Coach LaFleur knows. So Ron Sample says, so if Quay would be out with a groin, what's the linebackers' plan? That's a great question, Ron. I'm going to keep that up for a second. Let's go ahead and jump into the injury report real quick. Amelia, I'm not sure if you had a chance to see this yet, but Quay Walker was added to the injury report, okay? And that's the biggest change here. He was added with a groin injury. He was not listed on Wednesday. Today he was limited, so he wasn't out. I feel like that's a probably more precautionary than anything, right? The fact that he was limited. If it said out today or, did not participate, right, I would be a lot more concerned.
Like now, he really tweaked it.
Yeah, tomorrow, or, the proof will be in the pudding tomorrow, no doubt about it. If he's out tomorrow, did not participate, then probably going to be at least a 50-50 shot he doesn't play on Sunday. So back to Ron Sample's question here. So if Quay would be out with a groin, what's the linebacker plan? I think it's pretty simple. You would probably have McDuffie play Mike and wear the green dot. You probably have Edgerrin Cooper play Will. And we've actually got a clip here from Matt LaFleur, I believe, about Edgerrin Cooper that we'll play here in a second. But what's your take right there, Emilio, on what Ron's asking as far as linebacker plan? Do you see it that way, or do you think it's more along the lines of maybe Eric Wilson or going in a different direction?
Yeah, I think that's kind of tough. Listening to what Hafley was saying earlier, he wants the Mike and the Will to be interchangeable in his defense. If at all possible, that's what we're looking for. So who's played the most Mike besides Quay? I would have to say it's McDuffie. The only other person that maybe we're not talking about would be Hopper, but I don't think Hopper's ready to because he had the dot preseason. I don't think he's quite ready to be just dropped in like that. But maybe that's where we look. Hey, if Evan Williams is going to play the way he does, maybe we run out a dime package and run it as a nickel and just walk Evan Williams up into the box, and he's just going to be sitting there all game long. Unless they start coming out in 22 packages or something, you might be able to get away with that if we can run a dime and then you have that in the back of your book for week 12 when we need to run that dime package again. I think it wouldn't be a bad shot for them to go for it. But I think that it's got to be McDuffie for your Mike, and then like you said, Cooper. But even he's still on the list, so Wilson, Hopper.
Yeah, Hopper's another one, right, that we don't talk about much, and he's definitely the thumper of the group. It seems like everybody who covered camp this summer was like, that's the guy that brings the pop. So now, listen, that's all great, and there's nothing to get you off the couch quicker than a big hit. But
definitely.
At the same time, man, you got to be able to cover. You got to be able to do all those things, right? Here was Coach LaFleur earlier today, and let me drop this down real quick. We'll come back to the injury report and finish hitting it. Here's what Coach LaFleur had to say about Edgerrin Cooper, okay? And I tweeted this out. Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur talks about Edgerrin Cooper and his lack of snaps versus the Eagles. Great exchange here from Tom Silverstein, uncovering more insight behind some of the Packers' misalignment / mistakes on defense. It's about 1:56 long. Again, this came from Packers Twitter earlier today.
Can you throw him into everything?
We'll have to wait and see, Spoon.
What did you do in the last game?
Well, he played. I can tell you, he played 10 snaps. What happened? He went out there early. We had a misalignment. They scored a touchdown, and that hurt his ability to get out on the field until we were just like, all right, hey, he's got to go out there. And he started making plays. There's going to be some bumps in the road. There is with every young player. And so you can't let it deter you. If you make some mistakes, you got to keep it moving, coach him up, teach him. The thing that you'd like to see is it's not just him out there. There's 10 other guys out there. There's other guys that are smart enough that can, correct the situation before it becomes one. So, I would say the emphasis on that is like, hey, if you guys see something wrong, make sure we communicate it so we can try to get it fixed before it becomes a problem.
So you expect, someone should be able to tell him you're in the wrong spot, right?
You would like to think that, yes. That's why it's on all of us. It's on everybody. We got to communicate, the other backers, the safeties, everybody.
On Berkeley's touchdown, you had McKinney way over on the left.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Matt.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yes. You could tell. There was a lot of conversation going on in the back end because and I don't blame X either. He's trying to cover down so we don't have a 2-on-1 situation out in the slot. We were a gap short on that play. So
pass rusher on.
Hey.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
We talked about it. When you get aggressive with a new defensive look, going to more of a one gap predominantly in the base. And I'm not sure if they were in base on that specific play. My guess is they were in nickel, but your focus goes more off of with that two gap approach. It gives you a little more flexibility up front. It's why people like Mark Tauscher, Brian Balaga say it's harder to run the football on a 34 front because of that two gap approach. And you got five guys on the line of scrimmage and all that. Now you can approach a five-man front out of a 4-3 if you go under or over and walk the Sam or the Will up on the line of scrimmage. But when you're thinking aggressive, these are the type of things that happen. Now listen, this happened in Joe Barry's defense too, right? It is what it is. But I love how Matt said, hey, it ain't just on Edger and Cooper, right? It's on everybody. We've all got to be able to communicate. And it sounded like X had his hands full because he realized, oh crap, they've got two guys on this side of the field. There's only one guy covering. I got to get down there and cover that. He doesn't have time to go, hey, guys, he can't go timeout. Guys, listen, no, you go here. There's no time for that, right? There's just no time. So,
he's on it, though. You got a linebacker to your left or your right. Hey, pull me, let me know where I need to be. It's my first, it's my first NFL game. I'm out here, and I'm not mad at it. If he made the mistake, I'm sure going 100 miles an hour. And I think, Matt realized, hey, we did it with rookies last year. We've done it before. We need to, those bumps are going to happen. Those bruises are going to happen. Maybe let's not yank him after 3 plays and, then get him looking back, Monday morning quarterback kind of thing. Hey, we shouldn't have done that. I should have left him in the game, and we'll just coach up that. It's one drive, right? We still got another 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever it is. Let's move forward with it.
And like Coach LaFleur said there, and listening to Ryan Schlip's Packernet podcast earlier today, it's the same way. It was like, man, when you see him on the field, it was 10, 11 snaps, right? That dude, he popped every single play. It was, you could see him jump off the tape. Like Matt said, got to get him on the field. We're just going to have to grow through those situations, right? And again, he ended up being the highest graded player according to PFF, right? And again, PFF isn't everything. I know y'all get tired of
the
hearing
only thing. No, I'm kidding.
People get tired of hearing me say that, but I always want to put emphasis on that. You see us, we use SIS data. We use 33rd team data.
Use NFL data.
NFL data, NFL Pro. We're going to go next gen stats. We're going to look at everything across the board. But PFF, again, is just one tool. And they seem to think Edgerrin Cooper had a pretty good game. And when you turn the tape, you go, damn, he had a good game. One blown assignment, no doubt about it. But right. Ron Sam, to answer your question again, man. So if Quay would be out with the groin, what's the linebacker plan? I think in the nickel, I would have to go with Isaiah McDuffie and Edgerrin Cooper. That would be my pick. That would. Mm-hmm. So, and actually, since we're on that, well, let's finish up these questions real quick. Ron Samville says, sounds like Cooper blew his assignment on that touchdown, or he would have had more playing time. Hopefully the young guys get more time this week. That's the reason we want to play that, Ron. So appreciate you bringing that up, buddy. Brett Rogers says, what are your thoughts on the change in kickoffs? I think is what he means, and the advancing of field goal kicking distance. Dallas only has to advance 20 yards after a touchback to be within scoring range. Just 2 first downs now. That's wild. It is wild, Brett. The games are changing, and this is my opinion on this is why my wife refers to me as the stick in the mud, because I hate change. I can't stand anything that's other than my routine. So right. I'm not a big fan. But, again, that was Matt LaFleur earlier talking about Edgerrin Cooper. Now, let's pull this up since we're on this topic, and we're going to come back to the injury report, I promise. Let's look at the passer rating when targeted. Now, when we look at the run defense, it's amazing there's people on Twitter saying, man, the run defense got Saquon owned them and this and that. And I'm going, boys, we were 10th in the league in yards per carry allowed. Like, I don't know what we're expecting. I think we allowed 3.8 yards per attempt. Like, Milio, you can't ask for much more than that, right? You're under 4 yards per – and that's as a team. That's as a whole. Now, Saquon's stats might have been inflated a bit, but, you know, you're not – at the end of the day, you're not going, okay, the only person we're worried about stopping is Saquon. You want to keep that number to a minimum. I think the best in the league was like 2.6 yards a carry, if I remember correctly. So, so if the run defense looked pretty stout and we know Philly can run the hell out of the football, then you go, okay, where did we lose the game at? Why did the defense give up 34 points? All right. The answer is in the passing game. And much of it was timely passing. Right. Mm-hmm. Like that huge game that Jair gave up. We're going to talk about his statistics here in a minute and where he ranks across the NFL through 1 week. That play, the 20-yarder as well. There was a number of different plays in the passing game that really got away from the Packers. So when you look at the linebacker standpoint and we go passer rating when targeted, check this out. I think I did a minimum of 2 targets, okay? Because for whatever reason with the SIS database, when you do minimum of 1 target, it includes 0 in there as well, and it throws everything out of whack. So I had to go at least 2 targets. This is linebacker position, targeted at least 2 times. 3rd in the NFL with a rating of 36.1 was Quay Walker. Now, he only got targeted 3 times, okay? So keep that in mind. He had 35 coverage snaps. They tried him 3 times. And, again, passer rating when targeted was only 36.1. Absolutely phenomenal numbers there for Quay Walker. And, again, this goes hand in hand. When we did our postseason evaluation of the entire team, Emilio, this is what we came up with. Now, Quay Walker's strength is pass coverage. There's no 2 ways about it. So right. That was pretty cool, man, of all the backers. It's only 1 week. I understand completely. But that rating against pretty impressive there at 36.1 for Quay. What do you think about that, man? Does that kind of feel like what you've seen on Friday night?
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we hope for out of Quay is something like that because, I mean, like you said, it's only 1, but look who he's in front of. Fred Warner is 5, Eric Kendricks is 6, Quincy Williams is 10. So linebackers that have skill on good defense, you know, on good defenses that know what they're doing. And Quay had the 3rd most coverage snaps out of this list. I mean, the only other person that had a bunch more was Dodson of the Seahawks at 45. Quay was out there half the defensive snaps. What they have 70 plays or something like that. So half of his snaps, he was in coverage, did a great job. And then on top of that had the most tackles on the team to boot and, you know, was making the run fits. But Hafley and Matt, hey, we need your head on a swivel, help out Edgerrin here. Hey, we had a misfit on the C gap or whatever it is that led to that explosive. So there's obviously little things that they want to work on, but I'm not mad about his performance at all. Yeah, there was a 66% completion percentage, but that one time the other time that it was a pick.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, the other linebacker that played the majority of the snaps was Isaiah McDuffie, right? Here was his rating when targeted. Okay, now notice there was only 41 on this list. All right, with at least 2 targets. Isaiah McDuffie got targeted twice. His passer rating allowed 120.8. Keep in mind the touchdown on the wheel route to Isaiah McDuffie. Again, he got burned, but if you were to tell me, Emilio, pre-game, if you were to say, hey, man, you're going to get singled up with motion going away from the wheel side, right? Mm-hmm. The wheel route, what we're talking about, not wheel backer, but the wheel route up the sideline to Saquon Barkley. You're going to get jet motion away from that to force Isaiah McDuffie to take a half a step over to his left, opposite side of the wheel. And then he's got to cover Saquon Barkley on a wheel route, man on man. I'm going, yeah, I don't like that matchup, Bub.
Right.
So we got to take that into consideration. But nonetheless, his passer rating when targeted 120.8. To me, it's just another reason. I kept asking myself, if Edgerrin Cooper was put in that same position and he knew his assignment, could he make that play? I think he could. Just what we've seen on tape, man. He's an athletic freak, right?
Well, let me add to that play. In Next Gen Stats, the 6th most improbable catch last week was Jalen Hurts to Saquon for a 30.4% completion percentage.
Wow.
30. So, I mean, I know we are mad at McDuffie, right? I mean, not mad at him, but, upset that play happened. But like you said before, he was inches from the, and Saquon just had a good route, hands enough to catch it. He's going to get his. The dude's a good back. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it, but yeah, we don't want McDuffie in coverage. So that's why you're asking him if Quay's out. Hey, man, that's the only issue is we put him at the mic and we need him to be a Will or be a Mike and cover in Tampa 2 or something. How often is Hafley going to want to do that? That's where I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in Evan and run a dime or something. All right, you're just going to deal with, the running back but again, it's Jonathan Taylor. So it's not like we got any better option after Saquon.
Right. Exactly, man. Exactly. If you guys and gals would take a quick second, hit that like button for us. Feel free to sub to the channel. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Thursday evening as the Dolphins and the Bills are getting ready to kick off from Hard Rock Stadium down there in beautiful southern Florida. So, all right. So there's a little bit of linebacker talk. Now let's jump into Jeff Hafley since we're kind of on the topic here too. We'll get back to the injury report in a second. This was Jeff Hafley. It's kind of a long-winded answer, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. But essentially, the only way I know to tweet this out, I said defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley gives a detailed recap of his defense's first performance in 2024. I don't know what the question was, but Emilio, he ran, didn't he?
Dude, I was just gonna say that I absolutely loved it. It was like, and then at the end, did that answer your question? Like, but yeah. He has so much information that he wants to pour out. I'm wondering when they're gonna tell him to reel it back. I loved it. I loved it. I mean, if you want to hear anything about our defense, go listen to that 15-minute presser, from start to finish, because it was. I mean, I would just sit there and listen to the dude, right? Just let him pour out the information you've got. Let's just soak it up and go from there.
Yeah, definitely. And what we're going to do is I may pause it about halfway through because we're going to forget on some of the points he hits on, and we're just going to have a conversation as it goes along. But here we go. Might have to crank it. I've got it cranked to the gills here, guys. Sorry, I can't make it any louder, but here we go. Jeff Hafley, this was on Packers Twitter earlier today.
Our guys played hard all the way till the end of the game. Obviously, we got off the field on that last possession of the game and forced a field goal rather than give up a score there on the 1 yard line or wherever they were. I thought we took the ball away well. I mean, that was obviously we talked about that all preseason. To start off, I think it was the first 6 plays. We had 2 takeaways, especially backed up. I think that's what you strive for. And then we had the third, obviously, with Ja intercepting the ball. When they had a chance to score and kind of put the game away, we pick it off and we have a chance to go down and, win the game. And then ultimately, I think we could have had more. In my opinion, 3 takeaways was good. But when you turn on the tape, there should have been more.
All right, so let's just stop there for a second. It goes hand in hand with what we talked about, how the defense or the offense couldn't capitalize on the fact that the defense had those 3 takeaways, right? And especially early in the game. Yep. And I know that's where a lot of the frustration came from fans. It's like, man, you got to be able to punch that ball in there. You said it first and foremost, Amelia, on the post-game show, like you got to be able to capitalize on those turnovers, right? Mm-hmm. And again, you seen him kind of grin on Jair's pick. He was kind of like he almost wanted to say something, but he didn't, because you could tell that was freelancing at its best, right? That could have went a number of different ways for sure. But what do you think about what he said there with the turnovers? It's very encouraging. Like he said, they left more on the field too, man.
Exactly. And that's it. I mean, he said, 2 of them in the first 6 plays. That's incredible. We haven't had that in them. I'd like to check the stats on that. I don't know when that's ever happened again. But, these guys are all working together. X is his first full game as a Packers safety, with Ja in the corner. Stokes is out there. So I'm happy that the secondary did what they did. We need those turnovers. But, yeah, that red zone needs to be the gold zone again. We need to perform down there. That needs to be a touchdown 80-90% of the time, and we're kicking ourselves when we have to kick a field goal. So I think that and the penalties are going to help. But, man, Hafley has just got me fired up, man, from listening to it. And like you said, grinning at Ja because he wants Ja. We need Ja. That he is an experienced corner. We need him on this team. He's gonna hold down that canopy of the secondary. We just need everyone to perform together.
Yeah, definitely. All right, here we go. Second part of this. Actually, we might have 3 parts here, but here we go. Coach Hafs. Again, apologize for the volume, guys. We'll make sure it's up on the podcast. I'll edit it, but there's nothing I can do live here on YouTube. Just crank those televisions.
A chance I thought at 2 sack fumbles that the ball was right there that I think we could have taken. And then Keyshawn, who I think played a really good game. He's physical, very physical in the run game. I thought he covered well. Had a big hit on the quarterback. He had a sack or close to a sack on the wrap and roll tackle. He had an opportunity to have a pick 6 and change the game. So I like the way we attacked the ball. I like the fact that we were able to get the takeaways. I thought the guys did a really good job in the quarterback run game. I mean, that was a big emphasis, and he'd hurt a lot of people with that. I thought they did a really good job of containing him for most of the game in the run. And I know right now people want to know about the pass rush. Where's the pass rush? Where we're playing a little bit different of a game with the quarterback that we were playing. We were trying to keep him in the pocket. And I think for most of the game we did. And I credit the D-line for that too, because I think you have to be really disciplined to keep a guy like that in the pocket when he's not rolling around and hitting off schedules or running the ball for 20 yards at a pop. I thought we did that well for most of the game.
All right, so let's stop there for a second because the pass rush is huge. That's a big conversation piece on Twitter right now. When you CJM volume at 62 on my TV to hear him, LOL. Man, I've actually got it on 85 on my CPU here, bro. So we're cranked. I'm waiting for Emilio to say something, blow the speakers out here. Now, what he talked about with Keyshawn, first of all, and we're going to get to Keyshawn's stats here in a second, which was actually we might as well hit it right now. I think I can pop it up on the screen. We'll touch on it right now. But Keyshawn Nixon, he felt like he had a pretty good game. We've already talked about it. PFF agreed. I think he graded out in the 60s. If he gets that pick 6, Emilio,
dude, don't come on, because the way he broke on it, it sat in the breadbasket. He had his feet about to drop, and it would have been him on a kickoff return, right? Nobody would have cared about the 6 milli right then. It would have been an absolute wrap.
No doubt about it. So let's jump into Keyshawn's stats real quick here, okay? So this is passer rating when targeted across the entire NFL. We did a minimum of 3 targets, okay? So that's that middle column there. We got it sorted by passer rating when targeted. Check this out, guys. Eric Stokes, 11th in the league. I included slot corner and outside corners as well, okay? 11th in the league at 45.1 passer rating when targeted. Eric Stokes, 34 pass coverage snaps. He was targeted 3 times, only a 33% completion percentage. Again, passer rating when targeted, 45.1. Right behind him, your slot corner in Keyshawn Nixon, 28 coverage snaps, targeted 5 times, a 60% completion percentage. However, 46.7 passer rating when targeted. That's called taking care of business right there, man. Let's hope Keyshawn Nixon keeps this up, and even more so Eric Stokes, man. If he continues to play at this level, first of all, Emilio, first question answered. Stokes is healthy, right?
Yes.
That's what
I'll take that. I will absolutely take that, man, because we were worried, who was it going to be? Valentine. I mean, Eric Stokes, we spent a first-round pick on him, right? he came from Georgia. We want him to work out. Everything points to yes. And he's playing for his career this year. He needs that contract. So why would he not perform? We got a brand new defense. He's ready to go. And coming back to that $6 million, I'm not mad at Keyshawn being top, 15, number 12 for corners. I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, and keep that in mind, guys. Like the majority of the snaps in the NFL, there are 3 cornerbacks on the field. So when we talk number 11 and number 12 in the entire NFL, that's 32, right? 32 times 3 is what, Emilio? You help me out here with that math. 60 or
times 3 is
96, right? So if you're in the top 96 in passer rating when targeted, then you're kind of qualifying for, okay, yeah, you're
right.
Yeah, exactly. This dude, both of them, Eric Stokes and Keyshawn Nixon, 11th and 12th. That's just, you can't say enough about it. And again, the PFF grades kind of stacked up that way too.
Right, and that's big. I know Ja's not on there, but it's big to have the depth in your cornerback room, because what happens when we go play a team that has, like the Eagles, 3 wide receivers that can do something? What happens if we go play Miami or the Chiefs? You know what I mean? We got to be able to match up with these guys. I would take, 3 top 32 corners, but hey, these 2 right now, and Ja, well, I think Ja was one. He was like in the hundreds, I think.
Got it right here, actually. So Jair Alexander, there was only 59 people that made this list because of the targets. Jair Alexander was targeted 7 times. He was 57th. His passer rating when targeted, 153.3. So why do we bring that up? It's not the pile on Ja. We already identified. We stopped the run fairly well at 3.8 yards a pop. All right. So it was the pass that really the defense kind of got exposed at, right? Okay. How was the pass rush and look? We were top 5 in the NFL in pass rush in pressure percentage. So we know the pass rush was hitting home, right? And that's even with what Coach Hafley said and how they were rushing the passer. They didn't really pin their ears back. We talked about it. Going in game plan in this game, it was, what we're going to need from those defensive tackles is, one, playing kind of that stunt game, occupying a double team, a little touch spy in the middle, and allow the other guy to get after the quarterback along with the edges. Lo and behold, that's exactly what they tried to do. So Coach Hafley kind of mentioned we didn't really pin our ears back and go after the quarterback, because you got to be very, very aware of he's a quarterback that can really gash you for those explosives in the running game and scrambling out of the pocket. So the pass rush was good. We stopped the run. Okay. So it was the passing defense that really hurt us, the coverage, right? Okay. Quay did well. We identified one negative. That was Isaiah McDuffie, right? Okay. So add that to the list. That's a weak spot on the defense right now. We got to go work on. And now when you get to the corners, Keyshawn and Stokes played really well. So who's left? It's Jair Alexander, right? And again, it's not to pile on, but something's got to change there, because this is all last year, and now this year you're starting to see it bleed over into it. He got cooked. That's okay. Bury the game ball. Get back this week. If you can get Eric Stokes and Keyshawn Nixon to continue to perform at that level right there, and you're talking about keeping quarterbacks at under a 50-point passer rating when targeted, then and Ja cleans up his game. You've got Xavier McKinney, who played really well. He got that awesome interception in that Tampa 2 look. Now, keep in mind the reason that happened was because Quay carrying down the seam. Great play there. Now, people say, okay, Clayton, but Quay had a low PFF grade. Yes, he did, because of his run fit. Right. But keep in mind, that run fit didn't cost us the game. I don't – listen, you want red zone stops, but that play where he got juked out of his shoes and everybody's blaming Kenny Clark, I blame both of them personally. But when a team goes down there and gets inside the 10, I'm not going, that's what cost us the game. Once they're inside the 10, listen, Buck, the defense broke somewhere else, right? If I remember correctly, it was earlier that drive where Ja gave up that 20-yarder because he missed the tackle along the sideline. So I could be mixed up, but –
or a defensive penalty, a holding call keeps the drive moving and gone. But you can't go back to it when you had, we talked about it earlier, when you had Nixon's drop pick, that wouldn't have mattered. If the offense put, one of those 2 turnovers in the end zone, it wouldn't have mattered. And Jordan Love wouldn't have been, throwing that ball at the end. So it's about, execution once they get out there and finishing off drives, for the offense and the defense.
Definitely. All right, crank that volume again for us, guys. I'm going to do the same here. Let's finish up what Hafley had to say.
And then at the end, he kind of got away and made some plays with his feet, which was a little bit disappointing. But I thought the D-line did a really good job there. When you look at the run defense as a whole, I thought on first down and on those early downs, I thought there were a lot of 0-yard gains and there were TFLs. And I thought the guys, for the most part, did a really good job there. And then we had some unfortunate misfits and some misalignments and balls that got out on us. And those yards count just as much as, if they have a good play. So I'm not taking that away at all or making any excuses. But there's some really good stuff in the run defense, and there's some stuff we got to clean up. I thought third down we were good. Our numbers, we were able to get off the field on third down. Obviously there's some you'd like back there. But I hope that answers your question.
So, and when he's talking about third,
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. When he's talking about getting off the field on third down, Rashawn Gary, that huge third down sack, right? Yeah. And again, it's still mind-boggling. Ryan did a great job ranting over that.
I was so happy when he did that. Thank you, man. Because
it's like, how in the hell they literally, for those of you not up the speed on what happened, Lane Johnson. Listen, I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame tackle. Yeah. That's me. I think he's got the resume.
I looked it up. I think he's given up about 20 in his career, but he's been in the league since 2013 or something.
Everybody on the offensive line moved. Everybody on the defense moved. The ball was snapped. Rashawn Gary beats him off the snap.
He made contact with Rashawn, and he put a hand on Rashawn.
Right. Rashawn Gary gets the sack. It doesn't count toward Lane Johnson. Ryan was like, okay, it must have been on Saquon Barkley. It didn't count towards Saquon. They credited it to Jalen Hurts. The guy got hit in 2.5 seconds, and they're saying it was his fault.
Yeah, and when I pull up fastest sack on NFL Next Gen, 2.5 seconds they only gave to Myles Garrett. I don't even see
it's crazy
Rashawn Gary on here. And when I looked it up, I think they had him at 4 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get pissed off over it. I gotta change the subject. I'm just like, what in the world, man?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, guys. Rashawn Gary gets credited the sack. It's just they didn't credit it like he beat Lane Johnson, which he absolutely did.
Yeah.
He beat him with a speed rush off the edge, and Lane Johnson looked like he didn't know whether to crap or go blind, so he closed one out and started.
It was like we turned off penalties in Madden and just walked him across the line. Once he snapped the ball, you just blew him up, right?
It sounds like you've done that before. All right, with that being said, guys, that's for those of you listening on the pod, that's the end of hour one. We'll see you on the other side for hour two.